You can't plan for everything, but you can be ready for anything. That's where we come in. Northwest Insurance Agency covers the wait, what? Moments in life with real coverage, real people, and real fast help. We offer sombrero-style coverage that protects your possessions, your loved ones, and everything else that fits under a sombrero. Call us today for a quote at 855-887-5656 or visit us at nwagencies.com.
This is the On the Pony Express podcast, part of the On3 network. Check out all the SMU coverage you need at ontheponyexpress.com. Now, here's your host, Billy Embody.
1, 2, 3, let me go.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the On the Pony Express podcast presented by our friends at Northwest Insurance Agency. I am Billy Embody. Thanks for joining us. I meant to get a podcast with a bunch of details and a bunch of things out today, but time has escaped me, and I've now got to head to an event tonight. Hope to see some of you there if you guys know what I'm talking about on the basketball front. So looking forward to that. But I did want to get a podcast out to you guys today. So today is going to be interview only. It's going to be Kyle Cooper, SMU running backs coach and special teams coordinator. A lot of good stuff from him. I think you guys will find it really, really intriguing and interesting and all of those things. And then SMU women's basketball transfer edition from Stanford, Jzaniya Harriel joins the show. Really excited to chat with her, or for you guys to hear our chat that we did a little bit ago now. So we're going to get to those interviews. We are going to lead off with Kyle Cooper. But before we do that, I do want to remind you guys to reach out to Mark Villasana, Northwest Insurance Agency, 214-352-5656. They can absolutely take care of you at their insurance agency with all sorts of coverages and plans and all those things that you need to be ready for anything in life. So appreciate their support of the On the Pony Express podcast. Also, want to remind you guys to check out our friend Andy Ludicky. MyPerfectFranchise.net is where you could find more details on the franchise world, his business. He is a franchise consultant, and his services are 100% free to you. And when you do contract with him to go down the franchise route, he will donate money back to the Boulevard Collective. So really cool opportunity there. The donation to the Boulevard Collective is not necessarily something to do something as big as a franchise, but it's another value add there for you as well. If you go down that road with him, you can reach out to him, 404-973-9901. So without any further ado, we'll jump into our interview with SMU running backs coach, Kyle Cooper. Welcome back to the On the Pony Express podcast. Very excited to be joined by SMU running backs coach and special teams coordinator, Kyle Cooper. We got the fans outside. They're trying to get in here to cheer us on.
Breaking down the door.
The cheer camp. But really excited to have you on. You are coming off of a big year for Rashard Smith. Really, really cool to see him break out under your leadership. But you've also been here before Rhett Lashley was the head coach. So lots to get into with you. Really excited to get you out of the heat of camp and get a few minutes. But how's everything right now? You've got camp, official visits, getting the new guys in. This is a mini sprint of June for you guys.
Yeah, I think it's an underrated part of our calendar in that it's loaded up. And we get a little breather after recruiting in May to kind of press the reset button, and then it's June and it's full swing. And then obviously we'll have a little bit of time off in July before we get going in August. But June has everything all in together with camp season, recruiting, getting our guys, like you said, our incoming guys and our previous team all together. So probably about 98% of our guys are here now, and we got to be with those guys this morning. And so it's an exciting time where you got a lot of different elements coming together. So
how's the balance of that? It helps, I'm sure, that the staff has been expanded. We were talking about all the different recruiting staffers and interns and support staff that has really grown under Coach's watch, and J.R. Sandlin, and you've got Damon Evans now running the show. So how much does that help you guys try and balance everything that you guys have to focus on?
It does. It's a tremendous help. You talk about an endeavor like the mega camp we're doing today and yesterday, where you've got close to 1,000 kids, and 200 colleges represented in some form or fashion on campus, and the things you don't think about, logistics that the coaches, we don't have to think about. We can coach the camp, we can evaluate. Somebody has to do the dirty work. You and I both at some point in time have had those jobs where someone is on paper to open doors over there today. Someone's on paper to take the trash out. Someone's on paper to take height and weight, those mundane tasks that someone's going to do them. And because we have that someone doing it, the unsung heroes over there, we're able to kind of just evaluate. And that's one example of the camp.
All the way back to your first time here before you ended up going to Miami with Coach, what has the journey been like to see SMU? And also that was when the mega camp kind of started as well, the whole run of doing that. So.
I think the biggest jump, obviously with spending the 2018 and 2019 season here at SMU with Coach Dykes and that staff, coming back in 2022 was a little bit of, kind of welcome home, but not much has really changed. But just the course of the last, now 3 years and 3 seasons of looking around and see the change that's happened in the past 18 months with the ACC move and the move into our new building and the addition of staff. And you look around and it's a different place. And it's a feel that it's a different place. The success of last season made us a different, a logo in recruiting. And it's, we've told recruits on the road and in their house, like, it's the best time to be here, and it's not going anywhere. So we're excited.
You had Brashard Smith last year. That has to make it a lot easier to talk with some of these running back recruits that you guys are after. You've got one committed. We can't talk about him, but he's a high-end prospect. And, just building the room that you now have, it's completely changed over. But, a lot of what Brashard brought to this team last year, I don't know how you try to put that back on the field, but you've got a lot of options to do it too. But talk about Brashard and just kind of that journey to helping make that happen.
Yeah, when we got him and we were starting to talk about bringing him in, it landed on always going to be a running back spot, and Coach and I bounced that off each other and landed on the juice is worth the squeeze with him, and it proved to come to fruition. Did we know he was going to be All-American type player and all-purpose?
Like to say yes.
Yeah, I tell the staff that I had an inkling, but there's certain things that had to come into place. He had to get the opportunity. He had to seize that opportunity, and he had to stay healthy.
Yeah.
And we did a good job limiting him at times and letting him go at times, and with his versatility, outside the backfield and inside the backfield, it proved to be a real fit for what we wanted to do. And, you talked about how it helps in recruiting. Now it's a tremendous value because, when you go into someone's home and, I address the room as the running backs coach, it really, there needs to be something there. There needs to be some, resume to go back on. There needs to be some level of success that says that, we can do this and I can do this and your kid can do this if you entrust him with us. And I would be lying to say that's not a big deal.
And, you take a wide receiver basically that had never played the position and turn him into a Kansas City Chief.
Yeah.
I mean, could you write the script any better?
No, I don't think so.
I mean, even coach talking about him being, we think he could be Isaiah Pacheco. Now it's kind of working out.
Yeah. Well, it didn't take long when he was on campus, on the field, to know that he was going to be a difference maker for us. When you think when you're watching it, and then the defensive staff is kind of confirming it with you, and then you get into games, and it's like every little milestone is reached to where, he can do this, and then, he always had the talent to do it, and the NFL stuff, and how well he was going to run, and you start to flip the pages on that and see like this dude. Yeah, this story was written.
Chris Johnson Jr., Derek McFall, T.J. Harden, Jermichael Green.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Pretty strong group of talent.
Yes.
What you've gotten a chance to work with two of them. One, you, as we're recording this, have seen one day on campus in workouts, I believe. But CJ and Derek McFall, what did you see from them this spring, and did that really cement in your mind that they can do this?
Yeah. I mean, leaving spring, we going into spring, we had a really good idea of who Derek McFall was. We didn't really know what we were going to get from CJ. We knew we were going to get an elite athlete and elite speed. But this spring, he showed that he was a little bit more than that. And then Derek had a great spring. Both those guys together had great springs. Now they're competitive with each other. They do a lot of the same things well, but they're not the same, if that makes sense. Chris is a little taller, little leaner even. Both are not big guys, but both possess the ability to flex out a little bit if we want to do that. They both have receiver backgrounds, like Burchard. So some of that stuff they both can do. And they both got, real juice and can break a touchdown run or touchdown pass at any times. And that's what makes a good coach, is when you can throw it to the swing out, behind the line of scrimmage, and that thing breaks. And both those guys can do that. Conversely, TJ Harden and Jermico Green are bigger backs, more all-purpose backs. Not to say that Derek and Chris can't be 3-down backs, because obviously that's our goal, not to have anybody in niche roles. But TJ and Jermico, while they're probably 5 years apart in age, which is they're both explosive athletes, and they're both one has had. I'll talk about TJ first. TJ's been a 2-year starter at UCLA in the Pac and then in the Big Ten. He's had on-field success. He's played in big games. And what we liked about him and in the eval process was his biggest games of his career were against USC. It's big. So he showed up in those big games, and he didn't cower down to that. So we're excited about him. He's a big guy, like we were talking about. He's probably 6'1", 230 right now. I just saw a video on Instagram of him dunking. So he's got explosiveness. And then Jermico we're excited about him. I'll leave it at that. He's gonna have to help us this year. You mentioned 4 guys. In all likelihood, those are the guys who we're gonna go try and win the ACC with. So
yeah, I was gonna say, how difficult is it? Because I know you were excited about Derek McFall when you guys signed him, but obviously ended up kind of behind some guys and things like that. But what Jermico Green did as a senior, and what he did as a junior, and you're kind of licking your chops, but you're trying to in
your world, those CJ, Derek, and Jermico are all 4-star, highly recruited guys. Actually, TJ, who's at UCLA coming here, remembers Derek when he was committed to UCLA. So there's like a little UCLA connection there. But all very, very highly touted guys. And so when you see Derek this spring step into a bigger role and him know it, that's when you kind of saw that confidence grow. And Jermico now kind of swimming and trying to figure it out until we get going for real in August. Like different levels of excitement, and not it's a new room with it's going to be new faces in there, which is welcomed in a way to just freshen it up, and it makes my job fun.
What do you think the major differences might be this year for this offense? And does it have to do with Kevin being experienced? Does it have to do with you got 2 stud tight ends? Does it have to do with changing of the guard at receiver a little? I mean, new look offensive line, or what do you think?
Yeah, that's a good question.
We're not going to hold you to it.
No,
too much.
I understand.
I'll play the clip only a few times after this.
Yeah, right. I get it. I think it's just, it feels like obviously some production has graduated, especially with Burchard. But we got a lot of our core back, and the offensive line. I think we're going to lean on those guys a lot this year. We like our offensive line. Obviously, Kevin, since the Penn State game, has done nothing that would say anything other than he's leading our team. And then out wide, the continued production of those 2 guys with Romello and Jordan. I think collectiveness, will be the synergy and collectiveness of our offense, and being able to attack people with a lot of people. And it was a little bit of that last year. Burchard kind of took that role of, we knew we were kind of trying to get him the ball. Yeah. But I think the microcosm of the offense is the running back room, and those 4 guys. Like, okay, we got 4 guys we like on paper, but we like our offense on paper. Who are the guys that for 12 weeks are going to be able to get first downs, are going to be able to convert in the red zone. You know, coach calls the plays, but we need to execute. Who's going to execute? You know, Kevin consistently, our offensive line, being able to run the football, I think is going to be huge. And I answered your question by not answering your question at all. So
I was going to say you have all of these pieces, a lot of explosiveness, you got some size at receiver, you've got some speed at receiver, you've got tight ends proven. It just seems like this offense, because Kevin is back as the guy. I mean, no offense Ty Hawkins, no offense Tyler Van Dyke. I mean, if you guys are going to be as successful as you were last year and potentially take it up a notch, it's going to be because you had this whole offseason as Kevin being the guy and this group coming together as a collectiveness.
Yeah, I think that's the difference.
Yeah.
I mean, this time last year he wasn't the guy. Yeah. You know, and we knew he could be the guy, but he wasn't the guy. Right. And so now he's had, like I talked about, he's had, 6 months of being the guy, and he hasn't done anything for us to not feel good about that. Yeah. But, now knowing that, our offense isn't going to whole scale change. Yeah. We had Kevin for, 9 weeks of the season, something like that. So we know who he is. There may be a wrinkle or two, but nothing that's going to surprise anybody.
What are the goals for you guys, now being entrenched in the ACC? You have, I don't know if there's maybe 1 or 2 players that are here from, the prior time with Coach Dykes, but this is, Rhett Lashley's team, Rhett Lashley's ACC team, your guys' collective team. What are the goals this summer? Now your program is that heart of that culture. Has it really changed, though, from AAC, SMU culture-wise?
I would say just moving up in weight class. Yeah. Just moving up in weight class. And we felt like we had to prove it last year. And Coach told the guys in a meeting, when they all came back a couple of days ago, was that we're going to have to prove it more. Like, now, yeah, a little bit, but the culture's been instilled. Our locker room is, as good as the locker room I'll put it up against anybody. Those guys really like each other. And what's cool is the cohesiveness that happens so fast with the incoming guys. I think it's like when someone shows up maybe the year before as a transfer and they get another transfer guy coming in. They're like, hey, bro, this isn't like your last spot. Like, we do things like this.
Gotcha.
And there really is true buy-in to that, and it's a test to Coach Lashley. It's a test to Sean Griswold, and his staff, and our whole staff. There's continuity on our staff too.
Yeah, not one departure.
So the players feed off that. Their players like being around each other. They see that our staff likes each other, and that's how you have sustained success in in an industry and in, fleeting programs and fleeting staffs. And I'm not saying that this will be the same staff for the next 3 to 5 years, but for right now, in this moment, year 2 in the ACC, there's a lot of good energy in that regard.
This has been great, man. I'm excited to see how it all works out, and we'll be, of course, chatting more as season approaches.
Yeah.
So thanks for doing this.
No problem.
All right. Kyle Cooper, SMU running backs coach and special teams coordinator. Actually, we didn't hit on special teams.
We can. Well,
tell us. Yeah. Just give us the state of the. I think I asked you this when we chatted in spring. Give us the state of the union. Yeah. So there you go.
I would love to. So obviously, Colin Rogers is back at kicker, coming off an All-American season. He didn't like the way it finished for him, and rightfully so. And he's hungry to be even a step up. I mean, you talk about skill guys and their goals and aspirations. Colin, since he's came on campus, has had big goals, and he wants to go to the NFL. And for him to go to the NFL, he's going to have to work his butt off, and he's going to have to put statistics up with production in, beginning of the season, middle of the season, late in the season. Like, there's just not enough jobs at his position in the NFL for above average. You have to be exceptional. So he knows that. Punter, we'll be breaking in a new punter. Isaac Pearson graduated, so Wade McSparron's an Australian, a pro kit guy, a lefty, was with us this spring. Had a good spring. Still acclimating we say acclimatization period.
Oh, yeah,
so
yeah.
much, and so I'm like,
Yeah.
So he's still getting used to being stateside. Good leg, really powerful leg, big guy. Probably at least the same athlete in terms of as Isaac. And then we brought in a transfer punter from Cal Poly as a PWO, but he's been a 2-year starter at Cal Poly. So another lefty, so we don't have to change our scheme for those two to compete. I think it'll be, Isaac's going to run early on with the ones, but it's going to be a true competition. Wade.
Yeah.
Wade is going to run early on. Well, thank you.
Yeah,
with the
welcome.
Ones. Maybe we can cut it. The long snapping situation, we got a transfer from Colorado State who was their starter. Really, really excited about Morgan Trebet out of the portal there at snapper. And then, punt return, kick return, we got a bunch of guys that can do it.
Ymir Knight, punt returner.
Yeah,
obviously
he's
there's
done it.
options.
No,
There's options.
he's probably got the most game experience, and that was, it was an element in his recruiting that we talked about, and so he'll get a crack at it. We want guys who can be trusted at the punt return spot, guys that we can get the ball back to our offense. That's the biggest point of that position. Get the ball back to the offense. Obviously, be explosive. That's secondary. Junior was that last year. So, and then kick return, we'll see. A couple of those running backs will have a chance. A couple of receivers. There's been a couple of DBs that have been pushing for it. So, we'll see. We'll see early on and get with the staff and get their feedback on it. But those will be big time camp decisions.
Yeah.
I'll say this on special teams: our body types on our roster are gonna help on special teams. We have last year, you remember we added a couple guys late in
like
the summer.
Terry Lee
and Celestin from San Diego State. We added late as special teams bodies, and they both played a lot of teams.
Yeah.
We're not in that position this year. We feel really good about a lot of young players are going to play on teams.
It's time for your Brandon Bookers and the guys that are going to be your teamers a little bit better than I do. But
that'd be good. Obviously, we want our starters on offense and defense to contribute on teams.
Right.
But it helps Casey Horny and I when you have a core special teams group of 8 to 10 guys that are on multiple units that when we
push the culture.
Push that culture for sure. And then at 7 a.m., special teams meeting starts the day here at SMU. And so at 7 a.m., who's in the front rows, like, listening to my butt talk about special teams? Like, I need energy in that. So, awesome. That's a good special teams round table. Good 20,000 foot view of that.
Oh, yeah.
It might even be lower than 20,000 foot.
Yeah, no. You flew us right over the rooftops, buzzed the tower a little bit, woke everybody up for something.
I will mention one more guy, Sam Keltner, who we brought in from Keller as a PWO kicker. He's been really impressive. He's now going to be a redshirt freshman. Yeah. He's been really good. He's got a bright future here.
Awesome. Yeah. Great stuff. Kyle Cooper, SMU running backs coach, special teams coordinator, stopping by the On the Pony Express podcast. Thanks for doing this, brother.
Yes, sir. Bye.
Always appreciate Kyle Cooper's time. Great friend of the show. Always fun to catch up with him. And we want to thank our friend David Henry and the Status Jet team for taking care of the podcast for so long now. StatusJet.com is where you can find more information on where they can take you, how they can take you from point A to point B with that level of luxury that you'd expect from a private jet charter company. Make sure you mention code PonyUpACC or on theponyexpress.com and get a discount on a round trip flight with our friends at Status Jet. So we had some subscribers and listeners reach out lately to schedule, bachelor trips, some other trips going on. So it's been a good time of year for Status Jet. So make sure you start planning your football game day experiences today with our friends at Status Jet. Also want to remind you guys to catch up with our friends at the Thomas Auto Group. Great group over there that can get you into the right vehicle. They can also service your vehicles. They can help with collisions. They can do it all there. And whether it be their Ford, Subaru, Volkswagen, or Mitsubishi dealership, Thomas Auto Group has you covered. And when you purchase a vehicle there, whether it be new or pre-owned, you get employee pricing. When you mention on the Pony Express or that you listen to me or any of those ways to convey that you should get employee pricing. So head up 75 to McKinney or go online, thomasautogroup.com, and find out more about the Thomas Promise today. So really excited now to be joined by a new addition to SMU women's basketball. She is going to be a redshirt senior this season. She transferred in from Stanford, where she played the last 4 years. She redshirted her freshman year and then played 3 seasons. This last year appeared in 21 games, 13 starts, averaged 5.1 points per game, 2.1 rebounds, 1.1 assists per game in 18 minutes per game. Career best 39.8% from the field and career best 43.1% from beyond the arc. We've talked with Adia Barnes. We know this is a guard league in the ACC, and Jzaniya Harriel is going to be a key piece for the Mustangs, 5'10" redshirt senior, originally from Sacramento, California. So looking forward to you guys getting to know her as well in this interview. So I hope you guys enjoy us catching up with Jzaniya Harriel right now. Welcome back to the On the Pony Express podcast. Really excited to be joined by new SMU women's basketball edition, Jzaniya Harriel. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, you came to SMU from Stanford, arriving back to another ACC program.
Yes.
You just couldn't stay away from the league, could you?
Couldn't. I feel like this league is very guard heavy, and me being a guard, getting to play against like the best of the best in the country. How could I resist?
What was the recruiting process like? Because it just seemed like everything from Coach Barnes being hired to you kind of, I think you were one of the early ones. So
yeah. So for me, I'd say the whole process in general, it was a little hectic. As soon as I entered my name in the portal, calls immediately, like left and right, emails. And I was really trying to take my time, but obviously not too much time.
Right.
But, once I heard Coach Adia talk about, what she's trying to build here and what she's trying to do with this program, I mean, she sold me, like right away. So I think for me, she was just like, I'd really love to have you. I think you could really help this team. And she's really trying to take this program to new heights. And so I saw her vision. And immediately, I had to, call the other coaches and let them know. But I was like, I really have trust and faith in what she's doing here.
You've gotten to watch her kind of from afar, but up close, being a part of the league. What was that like? What was your impression of her teams when you got to face them?
They're always scrappy, aggressive, work very hard defensively and offensively. And I know her style of play is more pro-like. And so I think me being a senior, going into this next year, I knew I needed to find a program that would best fit my style of play, allow me to be effective on both sides of the ball, and, be a better tool for me to get to the next level, and I think she does just that.
Yeah, I spoke with her this morning, and she said, you do have those pro aspirations. You've been part of USA basketball. You've represented your country on big stages, and now in the ACC once again, you remain on that big stage. At SMU in Dallas, you're trying to start a program, back up and kind of revive it a little bit. How, is there any fun in that, in a sense, like coming in and being that face of this rebuilding process?
Totally. I think it's a wonderful opportunity. I think there's so much fun in it, and just like I said, her vision and what she's trying to do here, I have total faith and confidence in it, and just ready to back her 100%.
Is it cool that the Wings are here and Paige Buckets is in town now?
Yeah, definitely stop by and check out a game.
What is, from your perspective, women's basketball just seeing this huge resurgence? Of course, over the last few years. From your perspective, how cool is that to see the attention on women's basketball? That's been getting?
It's awesome. As a player and someone who's a part of the sport, I know how much work goes into it, and how competitive it is, and how hard people work, and just it's a great sport to watch. I think, and once it did get that spotlight and that attention and people actually tuned in, it may not have been for the reasons we wanted to at first, but I feel like once they did get a chance to see, they're like, this is, just as good as men. We just don't dunk as much, but, the skill level, the talent, all that's still there. Yeah. And so I think just seeing people finally give everyone in the sport recognition it's amazing to watch.
And for you and your teammates, getting that work that you talked about, that is a staple, of course, of women's basketball, and just how hard you guys are getting after it. You had your first team meal last night. Mm-hmm. Have you gotten on any workouts just yet here, or has it been acclimating and all of that?
Like me personally, I just got here Saturday.
Okay.
I know a few of the girls can say the same. Some may have gotten here a little earlier, but these first couple of days in this week, we're just doing all the little things, physicals, paperwork, all that. But I know later this week, I believe Wednesday, we will start our workouts, and I know we'll get after it. We have a great staff who is very motivated and committed to having a great year.
What are your impressions of Dallas, of SMU, just overall? Did you take a visit, or did you commit, or before?
I did take an official visit, so
okay.
I committed before.
Okay.
But I still wanted to take my official visit to see what it was like. Yeah. And it's a beautiful campus around, and the area around is just beautiful. There's so much to do. Only thing that I'm gonna have to get a little used to is the humidity. Yeah. But other than that, I mean, I love it. It's a nice change of scenery for me.
As far as your skill set and what you're going to bring to SMU, just give a little background for folks that didn't get a chance to maybe watch you as much last year.
So me, I'd say the biggest hook is what most people would call it, is my three-point shot. I'd say I'm an excellent three-point shooter. I like to create for myself and for others. And I get after it on the defensive end. I think that's probably, it might not be what my hook is, because my three-point shot, I mean, everyone loves that. Yeah. But defensively, I just love to work hard and get after it, because if the other team's not scoring, that's better chance to win, yeah.
Well, and if you're getting stops, more offensive possessions, more chances for you to get those three-point shots up. What did it mean to have that experience in a program as storied as Stanford, and get that? It's probably a lot of pressure, and just learning to play with that and do all those things. Whereas now you come here and you guys are, as a team entirely, the new kids on the block, and you guys are looking to jumpstart this side of things.
I'd say my background at Stanford, I'd say I learned a lot. I became very resilient. I've been in just about every position, from being on scout team to being a starter and anything in between. So I think that helps me to step into a great leadership role here, and provide a lot of experience. And my freshman year, we went to the Final Four. Sophomore year, we went to the Sweet 16. So just being there and knowing what it takes to get there, and hopefully being able to give some of my wisdom to my teammates as well. And then just being the new kids on the block, it's fun. The underdogs, no one really expects much out of you. Yeah. But we all know what we're capable of doing, and I know we'll prove that when we get the opportunity to do so.
Awesome. Well, enjoy the summer in Dallas. Try to enjoy, the weather. Yeah. It's usually nice. It's hot, but it's nice.
I'll be in the pool if I'm outside.
Yeah, there you go. Awesome. Yeah. Well, enjoy it, and all the hard work ahead. Best of luck, and we look forward to chatting with you again soon.
Thank you.
I appreciate Kyle and Jzaniya for catching up with us on the Pony Express podcast. Appreciate them, as always, for joining us. Do want to remind you guys as well, it is Manny's 25th anniversary coming up. Our friends over at Manny's Tex-Mex, 20th anniversary is coming up on Wednesday, June 25th. They're going to have some specials. They're going to have a big party at all four of their locations, whether it be the Lakewood location, Coyton Campbell, Saxe, or Rockwall Heath. It is happy hour all day there. 20-cent Australia 16-ounce beers, 20 cents for house margaritas, limit 3 beers or 2 margaritas, or $20 for any Tex-Mex dinner and house margarita. That's Wednesday, June 25th. The happy hour is all day, and from 3 to 6 p.m., you can get those specials at Manny's Tex-Mex. So, listen to that carefully or whatever, but they're going to be offering some great deals and great specials at Manny's Tex-Mex for their 20th anniversary. So go support them at any of their 4 locations across DFW. We appreciate Mark Villasana as well of course, at Northwest Insurance Agency, 214-352-5656. Email them, info@nwagencies.com. Hope you guys enjoyed this interview-only edition of the On the Pony Express podcast. We will have more for you guys later this week. I'm heading over to SMU on Thursday. We're going to do a bunch of interviews and get you guys more exclusive content for the podcast and at ontheponyexpress.com. And if you were at ontheponyexpress.com today, really cool, big new feature added for our subscribers. So when you hit the front page, if you're not a subscriber, you'll see it right away. Make sure you jump on and take advantage of that. So hope you guys enjoyed this edition of the podcast, and we'll catch you guys later this week as we break down another official visit weekend coming for SMU football as well. So I'm Billy Embody. Thanks for listening to this edition of the On the Pony Express podcast.
Thanks for listening to the On the Pony Express podcast with Billy Embody. Follow us on your socials on X at SMU On3 and on Instagram at On3SMU. And keep it locked to ontheponyexpress.com for more coverage.